And on the second day of the week, Carson started the stream and saw that it was good. Hello. Hi. How's everyone doing? I see we got Coraby, we got Danny, Comrade Sheridan. What up? How's it going, guys? It's a Tuesday. Tuesday. It's gonna be a chill day. It's gonna be a chill day. Corby, glad to hear things are going well. Danny, hope things are going well. Hello, hello. Tuesday stream. I never know how the Tuesday streams are gonna go. Frey, hello, hello. Danny has garlic bread. Things are going very well. And Corby has line edits. Oh, the duality of the duality of man right there. Guys, here's the deal. Today, I'm not feeling any crazy Sporkle, maybe one singular Sporkle quiz. But I'm not feeling like it's gonna be a big old thing because today is all about writing. Feeling like today is about the progress we're gonna make writing. That's what we're here for, right? Especially if you're doing line edits. You need that focus time, you dig? We'll give Sporkle one chance. One chance. Now the question is, do we go random quiz? Regional city sorting South America. Yeah, I gotta tell you, not a strong suit of mine. Not a strong suit. Did they go to jail? Can you pick the people who have spent time in jail? Could this go poorly? I gotta think out of context clips. Could this come back to me in a weird way? Wolvie, hello, long time no see. Oh, so glad to see you. All right, let's see what we got. Okay. Thank God. These are celebrities. Did these people go to jail? All right. I know Danny Trejo for sure has. Tim Allen, don't know if you know this. Tim Allen got caught smuggling drugs into the U.S., went to jail. Well, I'm finally back and finally home. Wolvie, perfect timing. Let me tell you about Tim Allen. Who else would have gone to jail? I don't know. What's this decoy marker? Snoop Dogg, duh. Lindsay Lohan, I've seen her picture. I'm fairly certain Mike Tyson has... I don't know if it was for the ear biting, but I'm fairly certain. Now, the question is, who here has dodged taxes? Because that's most likely going to be the deal. Paul Giamatti, Anthony Hopkins, Harrison Ford, Zooey Deschanel. It says 5 guesses remaining. I don't know if what am I supposed to do with this decoy marker? I don't know what that is. I want to say, I feel like I've seen a Paris Hilton mugshot, but I don't feel like that's... Robert Downey Jr. was in jail. Or not jail. Jail? Not prison. Ooh, close one, yeah. Robert Downey Jr. had a big issue with drugs. I got 10 seconds left. I think this is Paris Hilton. Boom. I think that's my official guesses here. Paul McCartney? Not Sweet Paul. There was that time that the Beatles played a concert on the roof and the police were called. Have you all seen the photo of what's his name? Who's old Blue Eyes? Frank Sinatra. Have you ever seen Frank Sinatra's mugshot? This is look. Here's all I'm saying. Here's all I'm saying. The rumor that you see is that Frank Sinatra was arrested on charges of seduction and adultery. I don't know if that's true. And yet, when you see his mugshot, paints a different picture now, does it? Now you're like, plausible. Now you're like, I wasn't on board with this idea before, but now that it's paired up with the picture, plausible. I don't know if that's actually true, but this is a picture of him. But like, you know, here's what it reminds me of. So here's Frank Sinatra in 1938. It reminds me of, see if I can spell this guy's name. I always think that photo reminds me of the singer from the band Fun. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you feeling me? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? And there's no more left to say. I think I've made my case. Am I right? Uncanny. Uncanny. And that's all the time we give Sporkle today. That's it. Young Legend, hello, welcome. Looks like a super young version of Charlie Sheen. Oh, I see that. Do you know what Charlie Sheen's original name is? His birth name? It's not Charlie Sheen, I'll tell you that. Hold on, now I gotta look it up again. Charlie Sheen, born Carlos Erwin Estevez. I'll tell you, Charlie Sheen, great. What would you call that? It's not alias. It's not a. It's what's the equivalent of an acting pin name? You know. Stage name. That's it. Stage name. Ain't nothing wrong with having a stage name. What would your stage name be? If you could pick a stage name to go by, a public persona. Anyone have one ready to go? Little Miss Chaos from Frey. That seems quite apt. Comrade Sheridan. Okay. Very on the nose considering how we know you. We'll be... Oh, hey, finally finished your novella. Love to hear it. I think I would go with Carson Long. What did he just say? Is this a stage name? What if Carson Long is my stage name? Oh my god. Oh my god! It makes so much sense! That's all I'll say. Wolvie, you're finished with your novella. Tell me about your novella. What's it about? What's your elevator pitch? How many words did you end up with? What's the final word count before you do all your have you already done all your editing? That's another good question. Tell me about your novella. My last name is easily butchered by non-Spanish speakers, so I usually don't bother. I feel that. I can't relate personally, but I feel that. And that would probably get annoying over time. Corby says, Cora. Like half the time I don't answer to my real name. I can't imagine using one I couldn't keep straight. There you go. Cora B. Frey says, I probably would still go by Frey, as it is also my last name. I like it. I like Frey. It isn't that like a... What's the pantheon here? Isn't Frey like a Norwegian goddess or a Finnish, like a Nordic god? And I'm not just trying to flatter you, Frey. I'm asking a question. Wolby says, I'm almost done with the editing. My tip is I'll end up with around 1,800 words. That's awesome. Congratulations. Did you learn a lot? In doing this novella? Because the best part of finishing something is you take all the lessons you learned from doing that to the next project. And now you're going to start a little bit higher with that sort of base knowledge. Freya and Frey. Shout out to Smite, the only reason I know much of any sort of god names. Danny says, my real name is such a common one that in middle school and high school I had a stage name, to the point where I graduated high school, a bunch of the underclassmen didn't know my real name. High school's the time to figure that stuff out. You can take it with you to college, because all my teachers and adults also called me that. Isn't it kind of nice when you can seize the opportunity to create your own identity like that? I like that. Frey says, Frey is the god of fertility, I think. At least he's portrayed with a spear, as he should, I might add. Yes, of course. Let's see, is the YouTube monetization turned on? Okay. I'm pretty sure you can say phallus on stream. Are we still up? Stream still up? Okay, we're good. All right, let's talk about what we got going on today. If you were here for Monday's stream, on my novella, we crossed on my novel, we crossed 60,000 words. Kind of exciting, woohoo. We had a good time yesterday. We had a good amount of people. Everyone was talking, chatting, asking questions. We had some new people come and join, which is always exciting. Corby says they're at 162,000 words, but I did cut a huge section out to restructure. So when it goes back in, that should count to be around 175. Is that all just the one book, or is this in addition? Is this like multiple stories? It sounds like it's all the one book. What a behemoth. On Friday, we talked about this yesterday. I think we might have some people interested in this. On Friday, Pro Writing Aid just released this new thing called manuscript analysis. I got some of these credits, and on Friday, I'm taking my Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs manuscript, and I'm running it through this manuscript analysis. And this is advertised as like this big sort of developmental edit kind of feedback. You know, it's never going to replace like a human editor who's, in the industry and is doing this for a living. But, we hear about quotes from people in the Discord community about like, I reached out to an editor for my 135,000 word story and was quoted at $28,000. I have got confirmation, Corby. I've got confirmation that stories over 150,000 words have been run through this without any issues. I think the last count, unofficially, is that 300,000 words can be passed through this thing and everything still checks out, all good, all accurate, stuff like that. I can't remember if they have a number on their actual website for what it is. I have already played around with it, and it's pretty cool, and I'm excited to share it with you all. And I have some cool extra news. Now, you got to keep it on the down low. Let's do, hey, keep it on the down low. I'm going to tell you a secret. I'll be announcing this soon. Extra news. I may have been able to convince Pro Writing Aid to do a giveaway for these manuscript credits. So, if you tune in on Friday, we'll be officially announcing that. And you can go through and sign up and be entered to win some free manuscript analysis credits. The way it normally works is the being able to pass in like 175,000 word story into this manuscript analysis, it costs a credit. And then depending on a couple different factors, like if you have like a pro account or pro premium account, the cost of that manuscript analysis token might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, depending on all that. So I was like, I would love to show this thing on stream, but I would also love to be able to give out some manuscript analysis credits. So if you like what you see, on the manuscript analysis, Danny, if you like what you see with the manuscript analysis, fingers crossed, there will be a link you can go through and put in your information and maybe get some manuscript analysis tokens for you to use yourself. And you know what? It may be you see that manuscript analysis and you're like, wow, you know what? Here's the deal. I would love to get this kind of feedback on my 175,000 word story, but I don't want to pay $28,000 to a human editor. This won't, the human editor would be a much more personable thing, but if I can get 70, 80% of the way there for $30, I don't remember what the number is for the credits, because you only really need to run it one time. That's beneficial. So that's the deal. I'll be announcing it on the Discord, inviting people on Friday to come check it out. We'll run the giveaway kind of thing for not just Friday. It'll persist for like a week or two. And yeah, so that's the deal. Young Legend says, on 300,000 words pro writing aid. If you're asking about the manuscript analysis, I can't remember when it comes to the person who I was talking to about this. They said that like the official support initially was like 150,000 words, but then they've had users run it with progressively higher word counts and seen it be just as accurate, just as comprehensive. So it's kind of like building up. Corby says, I can't believe 28,000 for an edit. I put out a bid on Reedsy and bids came in from 3,500 to a bit over 5K. Was that for 175,000 words? And I believe, Corby, that we heard that number. I think it was Chicky in the Discord server. I may be misremembering, but that's who. Danny says, it's been an eternal debate. This was about the... It's been an internal debate about getting pro writing aid. I'm tentative about AI stuff, but Carson was telling me that the writing is safe, so I've been leaning more towards taking the plunge. I'll tell you what they have told me, which is that they very clearly try to say like your writing, your words are not taken and used to train their algorithms or anything like that. It's on their website if you want to go read more about it. Every now and then you get the marketing terminology where it's like bank level security to keep your writing safe. And you and I are like, I don't really know what that means, but that's what that's their sort of promise to the user. Your writing is not used for AI training. By all means, do more research on your own and see if you're able to answer those questions. I'm not the expert. I just might have a little bit more personal account of talking with other people. Comrade Sheridan says, agree, it takes a lot of burden from the smaller scale editing things, smoothing out grammar and spelling among many other things. Pro Writing Aid has helped me a ton. I'm glad to hear that. I started noticing my errors as I typed rather than in retrospect. I've talked about this myself in editing Starlight Farm's Kennel for Talking Dogs using Pro Writing Aid. I found that there were some things I was doing where I was totally blind to, but then in hindsight, I was like, why am I using this word so much, right? These sort of like phrases and things that I typically lean on in my own speaking language was coming through in my writing. So that's the kind of thing that having an editing tool that you can rely on can kind of open your eyes to. Young Ludden says it's pretty insane. Some large language models can't even handle 10,000 words at once. But I am on mobile. Well, that's why it's like the manuscript analysis thing. That's why the manuscript analysis thing, it's priced a little bit differently. It's not like when you have, and we'll talk about all this on Friday, so I'm not going to go too into the weeds. But that's why a single token that you're running isn't just like, you don't have 20 of them on your free account and you're running it over and over again. It is a pretty expensive operation. Wolvie, we were talking about Pro Writing Aid and a cool thing we got coming up on Friday. Check out in the Discord. I'll make the announcement down there. All right. Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see it. Like I said, I've already played around with the manuscript analysis, and there were a lot of things I really liked. And we'll be looking at that all together in the live stream. So you'll get the full reaction of like, and the thing is, here's an even better thing for Friday. You might have been in the live stream I did a couple months ago where I took that Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs manuscript and I walked you through like the story breakdown. And that was me saying, this book isn't perfect. Here's the things I know that I could have, punched up or done a bit better before releasing this book. Going into the manuscript analysis, I'll do that sort of that spiel again, because the question is the feedback that I get from this thing going to match up with how I feel, with the problems I've already identified? Because if I think that there is, an issue with like, I didn't fully explore the magic in this book, and then the manuscript comes back, the analysis comes back, and it's like, you did a great job explaining the magic, then I would feel like there's this disconnect. You know what I mean? So on Friday, we'll do the full breakdown. I'll be like, here's what I am expecting, what I would expect from a human editor, from things like I already know about this. Let's see how it compares to the feedback you get. Because the only thing worse, and you might have experienced this, the only thing worse than wanting to get feedback and not being able to, in the sense of like I can't hire an editor, is relying on the feedback that comes back to you, but it not necessarily being what you need, right? If you've ever used AI, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever the other large language models are, and you've been like, hey, talk to me about my writing, and then the AI has been like, this is really good. I really love your character work. Great plots. That's not very helpful, right? We want the critical feedback. Friday. Wolfie says, the novella is about a person whose gender appearance isn't specified. When the person gets on the tram, sits down, blow wind pushes hair into its eyes, and then suddenly everybody disappears. That sounds like fun. Sounds like fun, Wolfie. Wolfie, correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong about this. I feel like in one of the early live streams, I pulled up someone's writing on stream, and we did like a little bit of a feedback thing. Was that some of your writing? We did two different people. I can't fully remember, but maybe you do. That was fun though. Nice. Well, I think we might try to do that again sometime in the near future. It seems like people are interested in that sort of live stream thing, which would be kind of fun. So maybe we'll start doing some sort of recurring live stream like that. That'd be fun. All right. All that being said, all that out of the way, I think it's time to do some writing. You know how it goes. 20 minutes on the clock. I should get to translating my novella. Yeah. I can only edit and give feedback on the English stories. Young Legend says, I remember that stream. The other one was a superhero story. You're right. Good memory, Young Legend. Let's do some writing. We got 20 minutes on the clock. Turning the music up. And good luck on your writing, editing, planning. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Writing sprint number 1 is done. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 474 words. 61,183. Let's update that. 180. Look at that. The good old writing sprint. Turning writing a book into 20-minute segments since 1945. I don't know if that's true. How'd everyone do? I'm at a fun part of my novel, which means all these writing sprints, it always is fun to return back to the story. Which I can't say the same thing about when I started writing on this thing last week after not having written for like 4 months on it. Because that felt like coming back and being like, it's like when you play an old video game. When you were playing the game, you knew, I'm on this quest, but also I'm going to keep my eye out for these resources to make these potions. If you ever played Skyrim, I guess, and came back to it. And then when you come back, you're like, all right, how's everyone doing? I don't know what's happening. This all looks familiar, but I don't remember what I'm supposed to be doing. Hello, Christian. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Always get here in the middle of a writing sprint. That's not bad. That's not bad. There'll be plenty more if you want to start from scratch. Danny says 383 words, but took a break for real life interruptions. It happens. Can't avoid them. Just got to embrace them. I feel that. Corby added 4 words, removed 7. Big moves. Big moves. Comrade Sheridan, 500-ish words between work tasks. That's awesome. Good progress. And Wolvie finished the editing, started rereading it, fixing grammar mistakes, and making the sentences more followable. Good progress. Love it. Let's get some chai tea. Chai tea to fuel us through our writing sprints. I had to run some errands in town. Treated myself. I already had my coffee for the morning, but I treated myself to a chai latte. I'm a sucker. Sucker for chai. Young Legend got through a breakfast sprint. As in, you sprinted the food into your mouth, or you wrote during breakfast? That's important information. Have a Fanta. Want a Fanta? Pass me a cup. Coffee all day, every day. DGS. What's DGS? Don't go. DGS. Digs. Help a fellow out, Corby. Now here's a question. When I don't go sprint. Okay, thank you. When I say Fanta, what flavor of Fanta comes to mind? Also, has anyone looked into the history of Fanta? It'll blow your mind. I read this like last month. Oops. The history of Fanta was that in the midst of World War II, Fanta was a German company. There was a trade embargo, or whatever the case might have been. I can't remember the term. And Coca-Cola wasn't sending over the syrup for them to be able to make Coca-Cola. So they pivoted and made Fanta. And that's how Fanta came to be. Corby says grape. Christian says orange. Comrade Sheridan says orange. Canadian Fanta goes dummy. Frey says raspberry. I don't think I've ever had a raspberry Fanta. What the heck? Jason got 228 words. Love it. I really didn't think I wrote that many. That's the great thing about the sprints. It sneaks up on you. Isn't it orange for everyone, Wolfie says. I mean, it's the most iconic. It's also bright yellow and it'll stand out more. Fanta is great and should not be looked at the way it does in America. We don't. I don't think we feel bad about Fanta. I naturally think of Fanta as orange Fanta. But I grew up drinking more grape Fanta. My grandmother always, for some reason, always had a carton, a case of grape Fanta. Only place in my life I've ever drank grape soda. I lived off raspberry Fanta in my months in New Zealand. Orange color is just off. I think I've never had a raspberry Fanta. I think the only Fantas I know about are grape, or I should say not know about. I imagine maybe I know about more things, but grape Fanta, orange Fanta, pineapple Fanta, and I feel like maybe I've seen and had a strawberry Fanta. Grape soda isn't a thing in my country. Christian, where are you from? What country do you live in? Don't you want a Fanta? Denmark. Okay. We have a couple friends in Denmark, friends of the channel. I don't know if you're in the Discord or not, Christian, but we got a couple different Denmark friends. Cool. Grape soda, not a thing. Honestly, Christian, you're not missing much. I mean, if you really like the artificial grape flavor, then you'll love grape Fanta. But like, it is strange. It doesn't, I mean, people say like it's supposed to be like Concord grapes. It's just chemically, to be honest. It's just a chemical grape flavor. Grape was the only flavor that made it to the FOBs for some reason. Some supply black market thing, probably. We got some Keenan and Kel references in the chat. That's a bold move. Bold move. Here's a question, and I'm especially interested in our international friends, right? When I was growing up, if you had like the soda fountain, right? So, you know, you get the cup, you get some ice, you get to choose what soda you want to drink. If you mixed a bunch of different soda flavors in your cup, what did you call it? If you took a cup at the soda fountain and you just got a little bit of everything or a mix of a couple different sodas, what did you call that concoction? Danny says bug juice. Has this ever even happened out off the shores of the US? Corby says desperation. Ray says that was not a standard here, so I have no name. It's a little bit more wild over here in the US. Called it potion in Danish. Wolfie called it the mix. All right, here's the weird thing. And I'm asking this because I wanted someone else to say it, so I could be like, that's what we called it. Young Legend says Sprito Parade, Sprite Fruitopia, and Powerade. Here's the deal. If you got a cup of ice and you got a whole bunch of different sodas in your cup, where I grew up down in the South, I don't know who came up with this. It was called a suicide. So you had kids going up to the fountain being like, I'm going to get one of these, you know? I was hoping someone else would be the one to say it so I could be like, boom, there it is. But nope, I guess that was just a Georgia thing. No one else had to deal with that. Down south, were you an RC Cola kid? In the South, RC Cola, at least where I was growing up, was never available in fountains, but you could buy it in like a 12 pack. More so, here's what most people are missing. Not RC Cola, but, what was this stuff called? Hold on. What is this? Let's see if I can remember. Cheerwine. Cheerwine was what felt like the regional strange soda option, but was so good. Cheerwine is like a cherry soda. Very good. Very good. Young Legend drinking an RC Cola right now. Let's go. Let's go. If you could get Pib extra in the fountain, oh boy. What was so extra about Pib? That's what we should be asking. In Hungary, most of the time, we wouldn't even have tried to mix it before. The cashier or someone who worked there would tell us not to do it. I mean, I don't know how... When the soda fountain was out among the plebeians, the customers, it was a Wild West. There were never any straws. There was just like chaos amongst the fountain. You could do whatever you wanted there. Comrade Sheridan says, I was stationed in Charleston and people went buck wild for Cheerwine. That's right. That's right. Cheerwine's good. Do you know why Barks has bite? This feels like a commercial jingle. Because it's got that dog in it. Is that what they said? Asking the hard-hitting questions. Barks has that dog in it. Only caffeinated root beer on the market. Hey. Can't be all bark and no bite. That's what I'm saying, Young Legend. That's what I'm saying. Well, I know that we're talking about very important stuff here, but why don't we get back to doing some writing? All right. Another 20 minutes on the clock. If you've got your Barks root beer, the only caffeinated root beer on the market, maybe now's the time to take a sip, get that power, that energy flowing through the system. If you've got your chai tea latte, take a hit. Let's do some writing. Music going up. 20 minutes on the clock. Let's do it. sprint number 2 is down. Let's go. 61,707. Number keeps creeping higher. I'm writing a scene right now. I don't know if I've shown this cool thing about Whittier, Alaska. Before we get there, how'd everyone do? How'd everyone do? And then I'll show you the super cool thing I'm writing about right now. I'm at 998 words so far throughout today. How'd everyone do? Christian, almost 400 words. Nice, let's go. That's good progress. Corby says, I've littered the floor with cut words. You spent so much time writing those words, and now you're just getting rid of them. Feels almost paradoxical. Also a great word. Paradoxical. Danny says 266. The getting from point A to point B is the struggle at the moment. We were talking about this yesterday, if you remember, which is like, it's so, and maybe this is something that can be avoided with planning. Maybe if I was better at planning my stories. I was talking about the same thing. Sometimes you finish up a scene. You've been like writing, you know, like you've been in the zone writing something you're really excited about, and that scene reaches its end, or that sequence reaches its end. And now your characters need to get to the next plot point, the next thing that's supposed to happen. And there's sometimes this weird sort of like, how do I build this moment between the two? Because, you know, in a perfect world, it would be a very natural, organic next step. And you might say, I'm just going to skip to the next part of the action. But a lot of times you need a little bit of resolution, a little breathing room, a little place to let your characters decompress, the readers decompress, and build your character relationships in those kind of scenes. It's hard. Young Legend says 283 words this sprint in a chapter with a nearly full rewrite. Hey, there you go. Denny says, I just had a big reveal a la, you're a wizard, Harry. Now I need to do something before I get into wizard training montage, etc. Nice, nice. Sounds like a fun story to be writing. So, I don't know if I had told you about this in Whittier, Alaska, but there is a giant, dilapidated, abandoned building called the Buckner Building. In like 1947, maybe I can't remember the exact date. There was this big earthquake and like a landslide that just demolished a lot of the town. This huge building was built like directly on bedrock. So when the earthquake hit, it was pretty much okay. And in the midst of World War II, this building housed a lot of people. It has over 100 apartments in it. It has a movie theater. It has a bowling alley. But since that earthquake, which the building was kind of still usable, it never got repaired. The elements kept sort of just weathering on this building. And now it's this huge, just like, it's probably the biggest building in Whittier, and it's completely dilapidated and abandoned. I call it in my book, the Scar of Whittier. And so I'm writing a scene that takes place in this dilapidated building. So I have some Google Images stuff over here showcasing what it's like in there. I want open image, a new tab. Where are you at? Everything in this building just has over decades slowly just fallen apart, and it's wet in Alaska, so water is getting in there from the top floor, leaking all the way down. So I have all of this stuff pulled up as my sort of mood board for writing this next scene. Look at that thing. Covered in graffiti. A teeny tiny chain link fence. Holding it back. So if you see me writing and I keep flipping over to my next monitor or alt-tabbing out of my writing stuff, it's because I'm getting some inspiration. Wow, perfect. From all of these Google images. I feel like I saw a picture of the movie theater in here. Where did I see that one? Look at, oh man. This is straight out of this one's straight out of a horror film. Kind of fun to be writing in a location like this. Especially when it's real. Kind of adds an extra layer to it. Shout out to the Buckner building. That's crazy. I mean, look how huge this thing is. See if there's like an aerial shot. Look at this. Great place for a slasher film, absolutely. Oh man. If I wasn't writing a real location place, I don't even know if I would have put this in my story. But the fact that it was there, actually existing in Whittier, I was like, I have to include this somehow, right? You can't have a place like this that actually exists in the place you're telling your story where you don't go in that building. Crazy. So you want to see the Buckner? Think again, it says. Wild. Absolutely wild. Look up Fun Park FYN. I don't know, am I clear to do this on live stream? Christian. The Finn Summerland. What are we looking at here? Oh, is this like an old, dilapidated... I didn't know places like this existed. This feels like way too much money to just like let dilapidate. Thank you, Frey. Thank you. It reminds me of the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black, which is underrated. To be honest, they go to an abandoned theme park in the woods. And I was like, that's so cool. Big fan, big fan. Abandoned amusement park you visited in the middle of the night. Are you crazy? Did you... Here's a question for you, Christian. Did you feel the eeriness, the creepiness of being there, or was it so cool and exciting that you were just like, oh, this is neat? Because it's a fine line when you're in a place like that. Is it like, oh, I meant to be here, so it's fun, versus, you know, if you woke up there, I'm sure it would be a very different experience, but you meant to be there, so it's all nice and fun. Or also, is it terrifying? Young Legend says there's a place, it's in Gonzales, Louisiana, been abandoned for years. Corby, I'm playing through Fallout 4 right now. I'm a little late to the party. But I think I know what you're talking about. I feel like there's also something in Fallout 3 of like a little place that's like a playground for a bunch of kids, and you're in like this little surreal, weird world. Christian says, I was scared AF, but I had a friend with me. We were definitely trespassing, and I was certain we would stumble upon a dead body. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Let's keep that kind of stuff in the books we write, not real life. Wow. Wolfie says, I've never played Fallout 4. I've played Fallouts 1, 2, 3, and New Vegas. I never beat Fallout 3 or New Vegas, but I was playing Fallout 1 and 2 back when I was just a little munchkin. a little kid. Probably shouldn't say little munchkin. sorry. Yeah, and then Fallout 3 came out, and everyone was like, dang, Bethesda's lit, let's go. So good. All right. Never played Fallout 4. You could always hop on Fallout 76. Fans seem to love that one. Great reception by the core fan base. Love to see it. I'm holding out for the next Elder Scrolls. Let me tell you, when Skyrim came out, I remember, because I think the date was 11/11/11. I was my junior year in high school. And I skipped school that day. And then I went and bought a half dozen donuts and Skyrim. And went back and played Skyrim for the next, 6 hours. And then I went to my last 2 classes in school. And then that's when, that's also the day I got my prom date. Really just checking all the boxes on that day. Good times. I had to ask my mom if I could stay home from school to play Skyrim. I was like, please, I'm ahead in all my classes. I don't have any tests. The things you got to do. Corby says Fallout 76 is their favorite Fallout. That's kind of a hot take, Corby. I think you're probably in the minority. But that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Kind of a strange one. Corby says the only Fallout better than Fallout 76 is Fallout Shelter, the mobile game. Whew, fan base ain't gonna like that. Wolfie says, I remember when I was a child, I played Need for Speed Most Wanted on my dad's PS2. Oh, Carbon. I never got too hard into the racing games. I did my fair share of Need for Speed. Now, talk to me about Burnout. That's the game I was playing. Burnout was a lot of fun. All right. I think we got one more sprint. One more sprint to go. We'll wrap up the live stream, and you've done so much today. You can do the rest of whatever you got to do today, knowing that you made great progress in your stories, and that's a good feeling. So let's do one more writing sprint. $20 minutes on the clock. Burnout 3, that was so much fun. It was better than Burnout Paradise, in my opinion. Time to pick up the scissors again. Let's go. All right. This is it. The last sprint. Enjoy it. Focus. Put the phone down. That's what I got to do. Otherwise, if I don't write to some kind of sprint clock, some kind of thing like this, I'm always really tempted just to scroll on the phone. But you got this timer going. That's going to be good. One more sprint. Let's finish strong. 20 minutes on the clock. Music's going up. Let's do it. How'd everyone do? I see we got Lantern Valley here. Lantern Valley, thank you for joining us. Yes, 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 let's go. Always nice to have the Potato Man here. Or Potato Woman. I don't know. Potato Person. There it is. The Potato Person. Danny says, brain shutdown. These morning sessions are very mean to me. Now, I know we have a couple people in chat, like Cora, who typically enjoy writing late at night, if I remember correctly. For other people who are in the chat, I'd love to hear, when do you typically try to write? About what time? Are you a morning writer, an evening writer? Corby says, I hate myself. I disagree. Don't hate yourself, Corby. When do you all like to write? When I was doing most of my writing for like Starlight Farms Kennel for Talking Dogs, it was morning to lunch, maybe. Sometimes it was after lunch for 2, 3, 4 hours. I think I prefer to write in the morning if I can swing it. I have more energy. I feel like I'm able to focus. And in the evening, a lot of times I'm like, done all this work. I am already too tired. Sometimes I talk myself out of it, which is not good. Frey says, I also like to write in the evening as I've mentally got no other tasks left. Makes a lot of sense for the evening. You try to do that in the morning, you're writing with the knowledge that, like, should you be doing these other things, these other responsibilities? Cora says, because after you hate yourself because after umpteenth revisions and doing line edits, I just looked at the scene and thought, what am I doing? This sucks. Cora, you've heard me say it probably before. I'll say it again. Editing is almost fully this like mental game of like, how long can you stay sane? It is so important to also not just focus on the things that you are marking to improve, because that's just you being like, I think this part sucks and I think this other part sucks. What was I thinking when I wrote this? This is terrible character work. That's how I was, at least. You should definitely be highlighting all the good parts too. That's the number one takeaway I got from editing my last book, which was just like, mentally it's hard to like just keep focusing on the things that you feel like you did bad, when I bet there's plenty that you're like, hey, this came out pretty nice. I like this. Young Legend says they write throughout the day. I work early morning, so I use that time to brainstorm and take notes, and I do more actual writing or editing in the evening. Or be dead of night writing. Danny says, I'm a night owl to begin with, so writing at night is just more relaxed, and I can just feel the vibes. Very true, very true. J Sam says, I write when I can, but I'm better at night. Interesting, lots of evening writers here. I did a video not too long ago where I woke up at 5 a.m. every day for like, I feel like I went like 10 days maybe. And I allowed myself to just write for an hour where I had like no other bearing of like responsibilities to distract me. Hard to keep it going. Once routines start changing, it's one of the first things you're like, I'm not getting up that early. But it was pretty good for a little bit. Maybe I should do another writing routine video and write in the dead of night. I'm sure my wife hates when I do these kind of videos. She's like, oh my God, just come to bed. You don't understand. It's about the art. So good. All right, I am saving my manuscript here again. If you can make it on the Friday stream, which is in the evening for me, so it'll be later than this current time slot, whether that's good or bad. That's when we'll start doing the sort of trying to do the sort of giveaway for these manuscript credits. And I'll be doing the manuscript analysis on Friday. Not using this manuscript, though I do want to see what happens if you run manuscript analysis on a story that is still a work in progress. Because, you know, it'd be kind of nice to get some developmental editing feedback while you're still writing. We'll see how that goes. And if you can't make it, all of these things are available after the fact. I'll make sure it's available in the Discord so you can click there and go find it. And I hope you all like it. I wouldn't be bringing it to you all unless I thought it was kind of cool. That's my promise to you. I promise you, you'll find it kind of cool. Plus, it's just fun. But with all that being said, good progress today. Good progress today. There's a lot of other things you could be doing. I enjoy the fact that you did some writing with me. And that's, I think, all I got. I'll see you around the Discord. I'm going to go have some lunch. And have a great rest of the day or evening if it's already nighttime for you. Take care, everyone. Goodbye, Corby. Goodbye, Danny. Goodbye, Frey. Goodbye, Potato. Goodbye, Young Legend. Take care, everyone. Goodbye, Christian. Goodbye, Wolfie. See ya.